My name is Daniel. I'm 32 years old, and I've always had trouble deciding what to tell people about myself first. Usually I say I work with numbers, not because I love them, but because they don't ask questions back. I live alone now, in a small apartment above an old pharmacy. The kind that still smells faintly of alcohol wipes and dried herbs, even though it closed years ago. I wake up early, drink my coffee black, and write things down that I don't want to forget. This habit started long before I understood why I needed it. People who know me would probably describe me as calm, maybe too calm. I listen more than I talk, and when I do talk, I choose my words carefully. That wasn't always the case. When I was younger, I believed memories were permanent, that once something happened, it stayed exactly where it belonged, in the past. I learned I was wrong when I was 17. Back then, I lived in a town that barely exists on maps anymore. Not abandoned, not destroyed, just overlooked. One main road, a bus stop with no schedule, and houses that all looked like they had been built from the same tired idea. The kind of place where stories didn't happen, which is why people trusted it. There was an old pedestrian tunnel near the edge of town. It passed under the railway tracks and connected two neighborhoods that rarely spoke to each other. During the day, it was unremarkable. Concrete walls, flickering lights, the sound of footsteps echoing too loudly. At night, people avoided it, but not because of danger. They just said it felt wrong, as if time slowed down there, or forgot to move at all. I started using that tunnel every evening. Not for any dramatic reason. It was simply the fastest way home from my part-time job. The first few times, nothing happened. Then I noticed something small, something easy to explain away. The clocks. Every time I entered the tunnel, my phone clock would fall behind by exactly 2 minutes. Not more, not less. When I came out the other side, it stayed that way. I tested it obsessively, compared it with public clocks, with friends' phones, even with the radio time signal. Always the same result. I told myself it was interference, old wiring, cheap phone, until one evening, halfway through the tunnel, I heard my name spoken quietly behind me. I turned around. No one was there, but my phone vibrated in my hand. I looked down, already annoyed, already ready to blame coincidence. The screen showed a note I did not remember writing. Don't turn around next time. It notices that. The timestamp on the note was dated 3 years earlier. And that's when I realized something important. This wasn't the first time I had walked through that tunnel. It was just the first time I remembered it. After that evening, I stopped using the tunnel. At least, that's what I remember deciding. Yet my notebook told a different story. Pages written in my handwriting described details I couldn't recall. The smell of damp concrete, the exact number of steps from entrance to exit, the way the lights always flickered in the same pattern. I had even drawn a crude map of the tunnel and marked a spot in the middle with a single word, wait. I tested myself. I wrote questions in the notebook and left space beneath them. The next morning, answers appeared. Short, practical, written by me, but not by the version of me that remembered writing them. One line stood out. You don't lose time in the tunnel. You exchange it. According to the notes, I had learned to stand still at the marked spot. If I waited long enough, I would hear footsteps that never reached me. If I waited longer, the lights would stop flickering. And if I waited just a little too long, I would forget why I was there, which was apparently the most dangerous part. The final entry before several torn-out pages read, if you ever hear your own voice ahead of you, leave immediately. Don't answer. Don't follow. I thought I had avoided that mistake. Then, one evening, I found fresh dirt on my shoes. And my notebook was open on the table. The last line was still drying. It's getting better at sounding like you. I went back to the tunnel one last time. Not because I was brave, because the notebook ended there, and I had learned to distrust empty spaces. The town looked smaller than I remembered, like a model left too long in the sun. Even the railway felt quieter, as if fewer trains used it than before. Inside the tunnel, the lights flickered exactly as drawn. I stopped at the marked spot and waited. This time, there were no footsteps, no voices, just the low hum of electricity and my own breathing. I checked my phone. The clock was already 2 minutes behind. Then I noticed something I hadn't before. The tunnel wasn't symmetrical. One side was older, the concrete smoother, worn by years that hadn't happened yet. The other side was rougher, newer, like it was still becoming real. That's when it clicked. I hadn't been meeting something else in the tunnel. I had been meeting myself, versions of me passing through at different points in my life, leaving warnings, adjusting details, trading minutes to keep things aligned. The tunnel didn't take time randomly. It recycled it. Every note, every hesitation, every instinct to stop or leave was a correction, a way to prevent something worse that never made it into memory. That's why I couldn't remember the first times. Before I left, I wrote one final note and placed it in the center. If this is your first visit, trust the notes. If this is your last, stop coming back. When I stepped out, my phone clock corrected itself for the first time in years. I don't use the tunnel anymore. But sometimes, when I check my notebook, there's a new sentence written in the margins. Always in my handwriting. Always something small, like a reminder or a thank you.